You and I couldn't understand the Bible without the laws of logic to begin with. In theology, this is called prolegomena, what you do before you do theology.
I'm wondering if you can describe your epistemology, because throughout your presentation you were using reason and the laws of logic to reason to God, but I'm wondering, how do you know that the laws of logic, for example, are true in the first place, to where you can rely upon them to make those arguments and they can be coherent and consistent and you can trust them?
Okay, good question. The reason we know the laws of logic are reliable is because they're self-evidently reliable. You can't think a thought without them. Like if I were to stand up here and say, the reason that I believe the laws of logic are so, well, let me think about this another way. You're using, and I'm using, the laws of logic to even converse now, right? We couldn't communicate with one another if we didn't use the laws of logic. Sure. And so they're not laws that you can get under and find laws underneath them. They are the bedrock of all knowledge. Without the laws of logic, we couldn't know anything. So what's my epistemology? Epistemology is just a fancy way of saying, how do you know something? My epistemology is I start with the laws of logic, and then I get sense data from my senses, and I use sense data to discover what's true outside of my mind, using those laws of logic. So, as we said before, if somebody comes up to me and says there is no truth, I'm going to use the law of non-contradiction to say, well, that's a truth claim, so that claim can't be true. It's like saying I can't speak a word in English. So, someone gives me that claim, I'm going to apply the laws of logic to it. And that's what everybody does. If somebody says they don't do that, they're using the laws of logic in order to deny that. Sure. Right?
As a believer in the Bible, is there a reason why you wouldn't start with the Bible as the basis and the source for the laws of logic? For example, law of identity. You know, A equals A. God says, I am that I am. Therefore, he has revealed himself as the law of identity. There is no lie in truth. So therefore, law of non-contradiction. If you're not with me, you're against me. There is no middle ground.
Right, so, but in order to know what the Bible is saying, you need the laws of logic to know what the Bible is saying.
Doesn't the Bible itself reveal the laws of logic? How do you?
The Bible uses the law of logic just like every text does, but you and I couldn't understand the Bible without the laws of logic to begin with. In theology, this is called prolegomena, what you do before you do theology. Now, before there was a Bible, did people know things?
Depends on how you define knowledge.
Did people know the sun rose? Of course they did, right? There was no Bible, right? Long before... Did people know that they were evil? Yeah, they did. In fact, before there was a Bible, God judged the entire generation of Noah, right? People knew right from wrong before the Bible. People knew logic before the Bible. People knew basic cause and effect before the Bible. In fact, if they didn't, there would be no way to understand the sentence, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. That sentence would be meaningless if people didn't have a pre-existing knowledge of what a beginning was and what created meant and how cause and effect worked. So there are many things you have to know before you can understand the Bible or any text. In fact, we just started an online course, or it's actually being broadcast on TV right now. It will be an online course. It's called How to Interpret Your Bible. And we spend a lot of time talking about the things you need to know before you can understand any text, whether it's the Bible or anything else.